Hello class, this is the invisible teacher again. Now I am really hoping that anyone under about 15 does not listen to this particular lecture. Maybe, in fact, I would say anyone under 30, actually. Yeah, I think it should be anyone under 30, I hope, doesn't listen to this lecture. So, well, not lecture, but talk. Okay, now I have to say that on my Kindle, something has happened. Unfortunately, the poem London Bridge, which I was going to read out to you, the poem by Swinburne called London Bridge, has seemed to disappear. And another poem has seemed to appear. The poem that has seemed to appear is called The Leper. Now, I have to say that when I was talking about miracles and like maybe too many miracles and change happening because things are going so quickly, not all of them are good. We don't know that all of them are coming from God. It may be, if we remember some of the medieval landscapes of Thomas Mallory, which I will go on to discuss later in connection with David and Geoffrey of Monmouth, we will see that sometimes things can be tricky and can be used to deviate someone off course. Like when Jesus was in the wilderness, supposedly, and he got tempted by, the devil tried to tempt him. Now, also, the edition that I have on my Kindle is a Penguin edition of Swinburne's poems. And it picks out much darker poems, perhaps, no, really it does, than those that are available in the Chatto and Windus edition, the printed edition that Ken Spellman's bookshop so kindly supplied me with. I don't know whether Chatto and Windus are still going, but certainly has Penguin tarnished its reputation. Because I have to say, quite a few years ago, I did fall for buying a Penguin box collection that was meant to celebrate its 100th birthday or something, about love. And some of the stories in there were awful. Just to go back to my theory of sex as a defense mechanism sometimes, it may be explicable in that light, because there was a story by the same woman who was responsible for Venus in Furs that detailed a rape at a hanging. This man raped a woman while she was watching a hanging. So that really was disturbing and sick, really. I don't know how the woman felt about it. It may have been that the man sort of took some delight in it may have been a defense mechanism because he was maybe frightened as well. So, yes, I will now read in a minute, I will read The Leper, which is reminds me of John Fowles' Butterfly Collector, where this man keeps a woman prisoner, is obsessed by her. Well, no, she was a girl, actually. is obsessed by her, and his love gets twisted. But what we have to remember about Swinburne as well, I would like to suggest that he did write. For instance, I have a poem that he wrote that was in imitation of Browning, Robert Browning. And Robert Browning certainly wrote dramatic poems. They were dramas that were meant for analysis. They weren't necessarily his own feelings, but with Robert Browning, maybe he put them up more successfully for analysis than Swinburne did. So maybe Swinburne failed to let people know that some of his poems were actually meant to be dramatic poems that were for analysis, absolutely for analysis, and were not meant to be copied. Okay, or incite any feeling of lust or anything, but were meant to be examples of what can happen in the worst cases. Firstly, if men are too possessive, and we will go on to see that in some of Lorca's plays, the Spanish author Lorca, because I am hoping to cover Lorca and Calderon. Well, no, I don't need to cover Lorca. I just need to say that really a lot of his plays examine a really deep gangsterism and a possessiveness that is certainly unhealthy. That is why I am hoping to go on to elective affinities, Goethe's elective affinities, later on, because Goethe is actually trying to sort this out, as Facebook has tried, actually. Facebook has led us to believe that we can be friends with men, and that men can cope with more than one friend, male friend, being friends with us. So anyway, I will read this Leper poem now. It's called The Leper. Nothing is better, I well think, than love. The hidden well water is not so delicate to drink. This was well seen of me and her. I served her in a royal house. I served her wine and curious meat. For will to kiss between her brows, I had no heart to sleep or eat. Mere scorn God knows she had of me, a poor scribe, nowheres great or fair, who plucked his clerk's hood back to see her curled up lips and amorous hair. I vex my head with thinking this, yea, though God always hated me, and hates me now, that I can kiss her eyes, plait up her hair to see how she then wore it on the brows. Yet I am glad to have her dead, here in this wretched wattled house, where I can kiss her eyes and head. Nothing is better, I well know, than love. No amber in cold sea, or gathered berries under snow. That is well seen of her and me. 3 thoughts I make my pleasure of. First I take heart and think of this. That night's gold hair she chose to love. His mouth she had such will to kiss. Then I remember that sundawn I brought him by a privy way out of her lattice, and thereon what gracious words she found to say. Cold rushes for such little feet, both feet could lie into my hand. A marvel was it of my sweet, her upright body could so stand. Sweet friend, God forgive you thank and grace. Now I am clean and whole of shame, nor shall men burn me in the face for my sweet fault that scandals them. I tell you over word by word. She, sitting edgewise on her bed, holding her feet, said thus, the third, a sweeter thing than these, I said. God, that makes time and ruins it, and alters not, abiding God, changed with disease her body sweet, the body of love where she abode. Love is more sweet and comelier than a dove's throat strained out to sing. All they spat out and cursed at her, and cast her forth for a base thing. They cursed her, seeing how God had wrought this curse to plague her, a curse of his. Fools they were surely, seeing not how sweeter than all sweet she is. He that had held her by the hair, with kissing lips blinding her eyes, felt her bright bosom strained and bare, sigh under him with short mad cries. Out of her throat and sobbing mouth, and body broken up with love, with sweet hot tears his lips were loath her own should taste the savour of. Yet he inside whose grasp all night her fervent body leapt or lay, stained with sharp kisses, red and white, found her a plague to spurn away. I hid her in this wattled house, I served her water and poor bread, for joy to kiss between her brows. Time upon time I was nigh dead. Bread failed. We got but well water, and gathered grass with dropping seed. I had such joy of kissing her, I had small care to sleep or feed. Sometimes when service made me glad, the sharp tears leapt between my lids, falling on her. Such joy I had to do the service God forbids. I pray you let me be at peace. Go hence, make room for me to die. She said that. Her poor lip would cease, put up to mine, and turn to cry. I said, bethink yourself how love fared in us twain, what either did. Shall I unclothe my soul thereof? Shall that I should do this? God forbid. Yea, though God hateth us, he knows that hardly in a little thing love faileth of the work it does, till it grow ripe for gathering. 6 months, and now my sweet is dead. A trouble takes me. I know not if all were done well, all well said, no word or tender deed forgot. Too sweet, for the least part in her, to have shed life out by fragments, yet, could the close mouth catch breath and stir, I might see something I forget. 6 months, and I still sit still and hold in 2 cold palms her cold 2 feet. Her hair, half grey, half ruined gold, thrills me and burns me in kissing it. Love bites and stings me through to see her keen face made of sunken bones. Her worn-off eyelids madden me, that were shot through with purple ones. She said, be good with me, I grow so tired for shame's sake. I shall die if you say nothing. Even so. And she is dead now, and shame put by. Yea, and the scorn she had of me in the old time doubtless vexed her then. I never should have kissed her. See, what fools God's anger makes of men. She might have loved me a little too, had I been humbler for her sake. But that new shame could make love new. She saw not, yet her shame did make. I took too much upon my love, having for such mean service done her beauty and all the way thereof, her face and all the sweet thereon. Yea, all this while I tended her. I know the old love held fast his part. I know the old scorn waxed heavier, mixed with sad wonder in her heart. It may be all my love went wrong, a scribe's work writ awry and blurred, scrawled after the blind even song, spoilt music with no perfect word. But surely I would fain have done all things the best I could. Perchance, because I failed, came short of one, she kept at heart that other man's. I am grown blind with all these things. It may be now she hath in sight some better knowledge. Still there clings the old question, will not God do right? Okay, so we are reminded of Psycho, actually, the film Psycho as well, in a way. But I think that it's probably a social commentary as well. We do see how poor in the gathering and so on. Maybe they couldn't afford a burial. There's many things we could talk about. I'm going to leave it there for now today. I'm hoping that we're not all, well, no, I'm not actually, because I am hoping that we're not all going to be in similar situations now. And I will return to Calderon's Life is a Dream. Now, it seems that the translation I have of it is probably the wrong one, because the script, as I'm looking at it now, is certainly not how I remember originally coming across the story and reading it. In the version which may have been closer to the original or may not, but the version I first read, there was a prince locked up in the tower by his father, and his name was Segismundo, and he was locked up in a tower and given a tutor. He had to stay in the tower for years and years and years, from about birth, with the tutor. And what happened is somehow he was let out for one day or something, and he caught a glimpse of this woman, and he fell in love with her immediately. And there was something about a picture of her. I think he kept a picture of her. But then, unfortunately, he went out and raped her the next time he saw her, or after a while later, he went out and raped her. Now, what someone pointed out to me, one of my tutors pointed out to me, was that how did Segismundo know what to do. Now, either this tutor was warped himself and thought it was okay to go about raping women, or maybe he was trying to raise a point, raise a concern that Segismundo might have actually been abused by his teacher in the tower. The teacher was trying to, apparently, according to the script, teach him all forms of knowledge and all about Platonic concepts, the Spanish version of that. But unfortunately, he may have, rather like some of the Greek teachers were meant to have done, abused his pupil. Of course, really, someone who was kept for years and years in ignorance of sex and not given sex education would not know what to do. We don't, like, when we were children, we really didn't know how babies were made. Yeah, I'll leave it there for now. Right, I'll leave it there for now.